On the broadcast last night, the former acting director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, said something that sounded straight out of a spy novel.
Do you still believe the president could be a Russian asset?
I think it's possible. I think that's why we started our investigation, and I'm really anxious to see where Director Mueller concludes that.
It's pretty stunning when you think about that. It's the former acting director of the FBI. Joining me now is strategic analyst and author, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. Colonel Peters, you heard what McCabe said last night, that he thinks there's a possibility that President Trump could be an asset for the Russian government. Do you agree with him?
Yes, I do. And Anderson, we're all prisoners of our past to a degree, of our past experiences. And mine are largely with the Russians. And I go all the way back to the Steele dossier, which as soon as we heard about it, it rang absolutely true to me, because that's the way the Russian security services do things. Now, we may never know whether any of the salacious details are true, because if a tape exists, for instance, the Russians would have that under lock and key, under lock and key, under lock and key, because if it's compromised, it loses its value. So it seems that Mueller is going after the money. That's where you can find hard business and hard trails. But also there's an important distinction, and you did just really make it. We're not talking about Trump being a Russian agent, that in full cognizance of working for the Russian Federation. Rather an asset. And an asset can be someone who's being blackmailed, who's being bribed, who's doing something for ideological reasons. Not the case with Trump, I don't think. And it can be someone who's not even fully witting. And I think with Trump's ability to bend the world to his remarkable view of reality, he may just be able to rationalize all that he's doing for Russia, and I believe he's done quite a bit for Vladimir Putin, as transactional. The Russians did this for me, I'll do this for them. And Putin knows, as a former case officer himself, how to lean in hard without seeming to lean in hard. So bottom line, sure would like to know what went on behind closed doors in Helsinki.
Yeah, which is obviously alarming that we still don't know that. It's interesting, the point you make about the witting or an unwitting asset, it's the same point former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper made on this program a couple days ago. The idea that the Russians could be using President Trump as a tool without the president really being even aware of that happening. How much interference can the U.S. intelligence agencies run on a situation like this? I mean, what can they really do if the president chooses to believe Vladimir Putin over his own intelligence agencies?
Well, they can do whatever damage control they can, but at the end of the day, the president of the United States has not only tremendous power, but tremendous freedom. And, my personal suspicions, and that's all they are, based on being an analyst for many years and studying the Russians, is that Putin does have something pretty grim on Trump, whether it's sex tapes or money or both. And the Russians go for two avenues whenever they can. They really want to get you. But Trump's behavior is inexplicable to me in any other manner. And if you look at Trump's inconsistency overall, his inconsistency in foreign policy, Kim was bad, Kim's good. Xi was bad, Xi's good. Are the Europeans good or bad this week? How about the Saudis? The one thread that is absolutely consistent with Trump's behavior is that he wants sanctions blocked or lifted on Vladimir Putin, on Russia. And for Putin, this is absolutely essential, because despite Putin's swaggering today in his State of the Union address, threatening the United States, promising the sun and the moon and the stars to the Russian people who are getting impatient because they're not getting the sun, the moon, and the stars, Putin, above all, wants those sanctions lifted. And Trump has really tried his best to lift them on Russian oligarchs, corporations. He's slow-rolled Congress again and again. And Putin, again, using an asset like Trump, or using an asset, you don't expect the asset to do everything for you. You focus on what you really want. And Putin in the long term wants a more Russian superpower, more powerful army. But it comes down to money. In the immortal words of that American neo-Marxist philosopher Cyndi Lauper, money changes everything. Putin doesn't have the money to do what he wants to do. He doesn't have the money. His defense budget's going down. So what he wants is sanctions relief. And Donald Trump has been doing his best for 2 years to give Vladimir Putin sanctions relief for no obvious reason when it comes to the security of the United States.
I'm trying to get the image of you sitting in a room analyzing the music of Cyndi Lauper from a neo-Marxist perspective. Colonel Peters, thank you.
I'm really more of a Velvet Underground guy.
Okay, I can see that. That makes sense. Colonel, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it. More quickly on the mic.